Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's space agency ISRO counts down to the launch of a mission to dock satellites in space. Former US President Jimmy Carter dies at 100. A village in India was named after him to commemorate his 1978 visit. US President Joe Biden announces a $2.5 billion fresh security aid for Ukraine. And in cricket, India loses the Melbourne Test to Australia, trails the series 1-2 with one test to go. In a pivotal milestone in space exploration, the Indian Space Research Organisation is set to launch its space docking experiment called SpaDeX. The mission will use PSLV-C60 lifting off at 10 p.m. local time, that is 16:30 GMT, from Sriharikota. It's a pioneering mission aimed to establish India's capability in orbital docking. SpaDeX will deploy two identical satellites. The key objectives include performing precision rendezvous and docking maneuvers, validating power transfer between docked spacecraft and operating payloads post-undocking with a 2-year lifespan. This capability is vital for India's lunar and interplanetary missions. Docking technology enables multi-launch missions and supports future human spaceflight. Only the US, Russia and China have mastered such advancements so far. And joining me is my colleague Ritesh Ranjan. Ritesh, how are the preparations for the launch coming along?
Is going on as usual, and in fact from yesterday night itself the countdown has started. All the necessary important checks have been done, and according to ISRO sources everything is going right. And though there is little some 2 minutes delay, it was supposed to be launched by 9:58 p.m. but now it is going to be launched at 10 p.m. So slight delay, that is nothing, nothing serious about it. But the most important thing I want to discuss and I want to tell to my viewers that India is going to, create a milestone in the field of space science and research. Why? Because after US, China and Russia, India is going to be the fourth country who can actually do such, orbital docking and undocking experiment. And this is going to be a first step towards our Bharat Antriksh Center. We are planning to have our Antriksh Center by 2035, but in 2028 the first module will start, and this is just a test. Because why? Because the scientists from ISRO want to see whether in the space, in two different orbits and two different satellites. This is the first time ISRO is sending. So how it can be docked and undocked, and most important part is transferring fuel, energy and other things. So this is very crucial. Once this is done, we will create a milestone in the space and research science industry.
Right, so as my colleague Ritesh is reporting, the countdown is well and truly on for that milestone mission to dock satellites in space. Ritesh, we leave it there. Thank you. Ritesh Ranjan reporting there on the Indian Space Agency's newest mission. Moving on, in South Korea, a memorial service was organized for the victims of the Jeju airplane crash. South Korea's acting president has ordered an emergency safety inspection of the country's entire airline operations after 179 people died in the plane crash on Sunday. Here's more.
Two crew members were pulled alive from the crash site at the Muan International Airport in South Korea on Sunday morning. This is one of the worst plane crashes in decades to hit the country. South Korea's acting president announced a week-long mourning period. Mourners also gathered at a memorial center in the city of Muan to pay their respects, leaving flowers and sharing their grief.
공항에 이미 들었을 때는
When I saw the video, it was like the plane had lost control. My daughter, who is only in her 40s, is gone. This is unimaginable.
마음이 안 좋죠.
It happened right here, not far away. It's traumatic. I don't know how long this feeling will last, but I know it won't go away anytime soon.
해도 좀 안타깝고.
The crash occurred as the plane attempted to land on its belly after the landing gear failed to deploy. Both crew members were rescued from the tail section, which was the only part of the plane that retained some shape. Another Jeju airplane reported a landing gear issue just a day later. South Korea has ordered air safety probe and also a special inspection of all Boeing 737-800s operating in the country.
We will conduct a detailed inspection of the B737-800 aircraft and review maintenance systems to determine next steps.
Aviation experts say some sort of landing gear malfunction was likely, with bird strikes and poor weather also under probe. This crash reminds everyone of the 228 people killed in a South Korean airline in Guam in 1997. Bureau Report, DD India.
And staying with South Korea, the authorities have sought the arrest of suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol over his short-lived declaration of martial law. The Joint Investigation Unit is seeking Yoon's arrest on charges of insurrection and abuse of power after the impeached leader ignored 3 summons to appear for questioning. A court will decide whether to issue an arrest warrant following the request. Yoon was suspended from presidential powers after being impeached by Parliament earlier this month over his decision to briefly impose martial law. A constitutional court trial is ongoing into whether to reinstate Yoon or remove him permanently from office. It has 180 days to reach a decision. On Friday, the court held its first preparatory hearing where a request by Yoon's lawyers for a postponement in proceedings to better prepare was denied. The court said it would move swiftly. The next hearing is due on the 3rd of January. Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev is demanding that Russia take responsibility for accidental shooting of Azerbaijan Airlines passenger jet before it crashed, killing 38 of the 67 people on board. Aliyev honored the victims of the crash at a ceremony and posthumously awarded the crew with the titles of National Hero of Azerbaijan. Aliyev said he wanted Russia to accept it was guilty of downing the plane and to punish those responsible for it. Azerbaijani officials have suggested that the aircraft was hit by a Russian air defense system as it tried to land in Grozny, the capital of the Russian Republic of Chechnya.
First, the Russian side should apologize to Azerbaijan. Secondly, it must admit its guilt. Thirdly, the guilty must be punished, brought to criminal responsibility, and compensation must be paid to the Azerbaijani state, the injured passengers, and crew members. These are our conditions. The first of them was already fulfilled yesterday. I hope our other conditions will also be accepted.
Russia has not yet confirmed that one of its air defense missiles hit the plane, though President Vladimir Putin told Aliyev in a phone call over the weekend that the systems were active at the time and that he was sorry the incident took place in Russian airspace. Azerbaijan's general prosecutor said in a statement that Russia had informed Baku that intensive measures are being carried out to identify the guilty people and bring them to justice. U.S. President Joe Biden has announced a $2.5 billion in security assistance for Ukraine as the U.S. rushes to aid Kyiv before President-elect Donald Trump takes office. The package includes $1.25 billion in military aid from the U.S. stockpiles and $1.22 billion under the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. Unlike stockpile aid, the USAI funds are used to procure equipment, often taking months or years to reach the battlefield. The latest assistance for Ukraine follows an announcement at the beginning of the month of a nearly $1 billion tranche of drones, ammunition and equipment. The outgoing Biden government is working to get as much aid as possible to Ukraine before Trump, who has repeatedly criticized U.S. assistance for Kyiv and claimed he could secure a ceasefire within hours, takes over in January. Syria's de facto leader Ahmed al-Shara has said that it might take up to 4 years before elections could be held in the country. His remarks mark the first time he has spoken about a possible electoral timeline since Bashar al-Assad was ousted earlier this month. In an interview to a media outlet, al-Shara explained that drafting a new constitution could take as long as 3 years. He said Syrians might need to wait another year to see significant changes take shape.
Drafting a new constitution and the constitutional amendments need a long time by experts. They may need 2 or 3 years. God knows our country cannot be run by the mentality of groups and factions. Since we were in Idlib, we are ready for this psychologically and morally.
Right now, take a look at what else is making news around the world. Germany's government has accused the US billionaire Elon Musk on Monday of trying to influence its election due in February with articles supporting the far-right Alternative for Germany party. Musk, who is set to serve Donald Trump's new government as an outside advisor, endorsed the AfD as Germany's last hope in a guest opinion piece for a daily. Government agencies in Thailand on Monday said that they have not found any evidence that some of the country's banks were used to help Myanmar's junta. Earlier, a report from the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights said some Thai banks were used to transfer funds for Myanmar junta's weapons requirements. Police in Kenya forcibly detained dozens of demonstrators and a senator after hundreds staged a demonstration to demand an end to the abduction of dozens of government critics this year. The Kenya National Human Rights Commission estimates that at least 82 people have gone missing since June. And still to come on DD India Live. Indian pacer Jasprit Bumrah nominated for the Men's Test Cricketer of the Year award. And the blockbuster clash against India becomes the best attended test in Australia's history.
मैसेज आया है कि ये ऐप डाउनलोड करके इन्वेस्ट कर लो, रातों रात शेयर के भाव डबल हो जाएंगे। कर लो डाउनलोड, अगर पैसे से हाथ धोना हो तो। डॉक्टर रोगी कुमार, MBBS हूँ, MURKH नहीं हूँ। याद रहे, UPI कहता है अगर कोई आसान कमाई का लालच दे तो कहो मैं मूर्ख नहीं हूँ।
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Hindus and other minorities in Bangladesh face escalating persecution under the interim government. Since August 2024, judicial independence has eroded and systemic violence against minorities has surged. Experts warn of a looming humanitarian crisis with call for UN intervention and autonomous zones to protect vulnerable communities.
We demand immediate, decisive steps from global and Indian leadership to protect endangered Hindus, other religious minorities, indigenous people and tribal groups under the hostile and pro-jihadist illegal government in Bangladesh. The survival of the Hindus, other religious minorities, indigenous people and tribal groups in hostile and pro-jihadist illegal government in Bangladesh is not merely a question of preserving heritage. It's a struggle for justice, dignity and fundamental human rights and existence.
Immediate global action is being called for to safeguard religious and indigenous groups from growing violence under a regime accused of being pro-jihadist and anti-democratic. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya spoke to some of the representatives of the minorities in Bangladesh.
The persecution of the Bengali Hindus is currently going on in Bangladesh, and to talk more about that, I have with me some of the representatives who have come here in Delhi to air their views and to request the Indian government as well as the international community to intervene. What is exactly going on in Bangladesh vis-a-vis when it comes to the minorities, Bengali minorities in Bangladesh?
Bangladesh is in crisis. Bangladesh is captured by jihadis. Bangladesh is captured by Jamaat-e-Islami and Hizbut Tahriris. So they are haters of Hindus. They don't like any minorities in Bangladesh. They come in power, they capture the Bangladesh, and they are torturing Hindus every single day. Hindus are living in fear. Their women are being raped. Their daughters are being taken away. There is no law and order in Bangladesh.
Would you believe that the current scenario of law and order is so bad that people are afraid to talk in Bangladesh, even if they feel that's wrong?
Even we are scared to go to Bangladesh. It's like mob justice going on. There is no rule and order. They are doing whatever they want to do. And whatever that comes to their mind, they do it. Even they are forcing university teachers, college teachers, school teachers to resign. The Hindus, they are targeting the Hindus, and they are clearly saying that you have no right to work here because you are Hindu.
The minority population in Bangladesh have come down to almost 7% now. Do you believe that it's high time the international community puts sanction, and with the situation turning in US where the Trump government is expected to come, do you believe that that might just change the way the world perceive also?
It is depending for the Indian government supporting us. It is possible to other international government they can come into giving sanction. But when we are in the other country, we are telling our problem. We are show to our document. They say India, you can go to India. They can do something. But India, they are nothing to affected in the Bangladesh problem.
Right. So that's a community is forming all the way from Bangladesh, stating that they want the Indian government as well as the international community to take a strong stand against the UNIS government, which is right now persecuting the Bengali minorities in Bangladesh. With Prasar Bharati, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
Former US President and Nobel Peace Laureate Jimmy Carter has passed away at 100. Carter had been in hospice care since mid-February 2023 at his home in Plains, Georgia, the same town where he was born and once ran a peanut farm before becoming governor of the Peach State and running for White House.
My name is Jimmy Carter and I'm running for president.
Jimmy Carter was the 39th President of the United States of America between 1977 and 1981. He was awarded the 2002 Nobel Peace Prize for work to find peaceful solutions to international conflicts, to advance democracy and human rights, and to promote economic and social development. Carter was born on October 1st, 1924 in Georgia. After 7 years' service as a naval officer, he returned to his hometown. In 1962, he entered state politics, and 8 years later, he was elected the governor of Georgia. Carter announced his candidacy for the president in December 1974 and began a 2 year campaign that gradually gained momentum. On November 2, 1976, he defeated Republican incumbent Gerald Ford in the presidential election and was sworn in as the next president. On September 17, 1978, he signed the Camp David Accords, which led to peace treaty between Israel and Egypt. Carter prompted government efficiency through civil service reforms and proceeded with deregulation of the trucking and airline industries. He sought to improve the environment. His expansion of the national park system included protection of 103 million acres of Alaskan lands. To increase human and social services, Carter created the Department of Education, bolstered the social security system, and appointed record numbers of women, blacks, and Hispanics to government jobs. After presidency, he founded the Carter Center in 1982. It's a non governmental organization that focuses on conflict resolution and health initiatives. In 2002, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. His presidency was marked by feud lows also. The seizure as hostages of the US embassy staff in Iran dominated the news during the last 14 months of his administration. The consequences of Iran's holding Americans captive, together with continuing inflation at home, contributed to Carter's defeat in 1980. Even then, he continued the difficult negotiations over the hostages. Iran finally released the 52 Americans the same day Carter left office. In November 1980, he was defeated by Republican challenger Ronald Reagan in the presidential election. Akhilesh Suman's report for DD India.
And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled the passing of former US President Jimmy Carter. In a post on X, he said, and I quote him here, "A statesman of great vision, he worked tirelessly for global peace and harmony. His contributions to fostering strong India-US ties leave a lasting legacy. My heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and the people of the US." Unquote. To sports news now, Indian pacer Jasprit Bumrah has been nominated for the Men's Test Cricketer of the Year award along with 3 others. The International Cricket Council announced on Monday that Bumrah, along with Joe Root, Harry Brook and Kamindu Mendes, is in contention for the prestigious award. The 31-year-old right-arm speedster took 71 wickets in 13 tests, which is the most by any bowler in 2024. Australia took 7 Indian wickets in the final session of the 4th Test in Melbourne to win by 184 runs and go 2-1 up in the 5-match series. Yashasvi Jaiswal fought a lone battle, scoring 84 runs. India's downfall started when Rishabh Pant was dismissed for 30 runs while playing a pull shot. For Australia, pacers Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc grabbed 3 wickets each, while Nathan Lyon snapped up 2 wickets. The final test starts in Sydney on Friday. The blockbuster clash against India on Monday became the best attended test in Australia's history as a record number of fans flocked to the Melbourne cricket ground. More than 350,700 spectators have passed through the gates at the Melbourne cricket ground during the 5 days of test match. This remarkable figure surpasses the previous record set in 1937 when Sir Don Bradman ruled the sport and tests were played over 6 days. The beaches of Goa are bustling with tourists for New Year celebrations, marking the peak of the holiday season in the coastal state. The days leading up to Christmas witnessed a surge in activity as Goa transformed into a hub of celebration and entertainment.
As the clock struck midnight on December 31st, Goa transformed into a lively hub of festivities as thousands of revelers flocked to popular beaches and nightclubs to welcome the new year in style. The streets of Panaji city, Kalangut, Baga and Vagatur beaches in Goa adorned with colorful lights and decorations, creating a festive atmosphere that captivated both locals and tourists alike. New Year parties in North Goa and South Goa were in full swing, with music, dance and fireworks lighting up the night sky. In addition to beach parties, many hotels in Goa hosted special New Year Eve gala dinners and events, offering guests a chance to indulge in gourmet cuisine and premium entertainment. The skyline of Goa was dotted with dazzling firework displays, signifying a fresh start to the new year. Many celebrities also performed in Goa, attracting many tourists in the state.
All entertainment places like clubs, pubs and even casinos spend a lot of money every year to get the celebrities to come and perform, so that the tourists visiting during this period will have a memorable event and memorable experience. We in Majestic Pride ship, we have got international artists, acrobatics, performances, singing, dancing, as well as we have Akhtar brothers who are performing, live performing. So we are hoping to have a good show.
Local authorities had made elaborate security arrangements to ensure the safety of revelers, with heightened police presence and designated checkposts to prevent any untoward incidents. The spirit of unity and joy prevailed as people from all walks of life came together to celebrate the dawn of a new year. As the sun rose on January 1st, the vibrant celebrations gradually came to a close, leaving behind a sense of camaraderie and excitement for the year ahead. The new year has been welcomed with open arms in Goa, setting the tone for a year filled with hope, happiness, and endless possibilities.
Goa is all set for the New Year celebration. Every year we see lakhs of tourists coming to Goa, either from the domestic or from the international countries as well. This time around also we have seen quite a good flow of the tourism and tourists in Goa. Accordingly, the Goan government have done ample arrangements and the security has been beefed up across Goa. The hotels and the resorts are jam-packed, and even we have seen the roads are also seen vehicular heavy traffic movement. Well, of course, this time around also, this particular New Year celebration will keep in mind, and that's the reason Goa is ready to host all the tourists. With camera person Partho Shirshila for DD News, Panji, Goa.
And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and around the world on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.